Yo, what is going on? Welcome in. This is episode 2 of the Stream ER podcast. My name's Brandon Kimbro, aka KimbroPlays.
I'm Nate, Notorious Nate on Twitch if you care, but just call
We
me
do
Nate.
care. We care. My boy Nate, I appreciate you, man. Welcome into episode 2. Thank you guys all for tuning in and listening, for the wonderful feedback, all of the nice things you guys said about the first episode. We appreciate the feedback, Nate. I know you heard from people, they really appreciated the first episode and loved it.
They did, and we appreciate the feedback. Any love or support or criticism, we will take it all.
Yeah.
First episode, so you never know what kind of kinks can go through, but we do appreciate the love, that's for sure.
We do. Just a quick reminder, get the all of the house cleaning out of the way. You can follow us on all the social media platforms. We're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And the podcast, Nate, where did you throw up the podcast, the full episodes up?
Full episodes, Apple Podcast, Spotify, something called Google Podcast. We'll see if we keep doing that one because nobody's ever heard of Google
Whatever
Podcast
the heck
before.
that is.
And Amazon Music. You can find Stream ER on all of those.
Yes, sir. And I think you told me before recording, you may have to look for our names.
You might have to search Kimbro Plays on Spotify.
Mhm.
I think the other one should pull Stream ER, but if it doesn't, I assume that as the more episodes we get, the deeper the algorithm's gonna get. So
Yeah.
you should be able to search Stream ER here pretty soon.
Yeah, it was weird. We looked it up in Spotify. Like, I looked for a couple days and I couldn't find the podcast. And Nate was like, "Oh, it's up. I can see it." And we had to look it up by our actual names, Notorious Nate or Kimbro Play. So if you guys listen to podcasts on Spotify and you're looking for the episodes, that's going to be the spot for you to find it. Nate, you talked about all the love on episode 1 and the things as we sort of figure out our flow and establish ourselves with this podcast series. Episode 2, we're super excited. Today we'll be talking about treating Twitch as a business versus treating it as a hobby. But I have to put a disclaimer out there. When we were going through recording episode 2 the first time, we're using a new software to record our voices, so hopefully we sound a little bit crisper this time. But it didn't pick up my version of the podcast. We have like a 2-hour conversation, which is just Nate talking to himself. You can't hear my voice at all. And then I was responsible for recording the podcast, but in a vertical format, so we could take some quick clips and add them up on TikTok or Instagram. And I waited for like the first 4 minutes of the podcast before I hit the record button. So we are re-recording the intro after we've already done the full episode. So if you are watching on YouTube the full episode of the podcast and you see a quick wardrobe change, don't be alarmed. We're it's the same episode. We just had to record the intro a second time.
Yeah, initial kinks, they're gonna come.
I think we got it figured out.
Enjoy our outfits.
That's right. Yeah, we'll just keep going through different wardrobes. Maybe that'll be a whole thing. Every segment, we'll just swap into a new outfit to make sure you guys understand our style. Yeah, no. All right, well, let's dive in. We talked about treating Twitch as a business versus treating Twitch as a hobby. Super fun episode. Let's just dive into the first question right here. Let's just jump into the first question, the first topic we wanted to get into, and really sort of diving into, why do I want to be a streamer? What did I get into this for? And we kind of workshopped this a little bit before we recorded the episode, and I think there's a couple different versions of the type of people we see streaming on Twitch specifically. If you're the daily viewer who tunes in, doesn't ever hit the live button, not a big deal. We're not necessarily asking you to examine or think about anything. But if you do hit the live button, whether that be every day or occasionally, I think it's important to examine where you fall on this list and sort of what identity do you start to take for yourself?
Yeah, I think segmenting yourself into one of these, I guess, topics or segments is super important in terms of if you actually get out of streaming what you want to get out of it.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Exactly.
You're not going to see yourself as successful if in your mind you have one goal, but you're actually doing the goal of something else.
Absolutely. If
It just
those two aren't in
doesn't
alignment,
match.
it's not going to work for you.
Yeah. Um, and I guess let's just go through them. Your first one is hobby. If Twitch is a hobby and you just hit live stream, you hit live to just hang out with your friends. Maybe your couple buddies jump in chat and they just want to see your gameplay, or you just want to record your gameplay for free. Um, you never plan to make a significant portion of your income on Twitch. It's literally just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. You got to keep that mindset or change your mindset depending on what you want.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people actually do have this as a hobby, and that is perfectly okay.
Yes, 100%. And we talked about this and joked a little bit about it before recording. I actually, as a streamer, I encourage everybody who comes into my channel to get a taste of what it's like to stream. I think it's really fun to be able to have your own clips, be able to go back and take a look at the play that you made, have a replay, or even if you want to get better, if you take streaming as a hobby, but you take your gameplay seriously, go back and review just like any good team would. Review the tape, see where you messed up, see what you did right, see what you did wrong, and examine and make changes. Um, but yeah, I encourage everybody to at least hit the button at least once, just so that they get an idea of what it's like. Because when you are in front of the camera or you are broadcasting yourself, it changes you a little bit. It opens your eyes to some of the challenges that a real streamer may face. And my hope is that when someone comes to my chat, if they know what it's like to have experienced being the streamer before, maybe they're a little easier on me, or they're a little more hesitant to troll in the chat and, you know, say something with a quick tongue and get themselves banned or timed out, because they know what it's like. So,
Yeah. Speaking of, Wrist hit the sub goal that makes me stream
oh, did
next
she
week or
really?
2 weeks ago.
No
So,
way. I didn't know that. Do
yes.
you know what you're going to be playing?
I don't know. It might be some FIFA. They want to see me rage. I think they want to see me rage. So we'll
Yes.
see. It's probably going to be FIFA if they want to see me
Nice.
rage, but maybe some more Warzone. We'll
Yes.
see. But
And she's what? DAN6ER
yeah, underscore
underscore
risk.
risk. So twitch.tv
We'll
danger
promote it.
risk. I can't
We'll
wait.
promote
Yeah, you'll see it on our social media. So if you want to see Nate do his first ever stream, we got that coming up. That's just really, really fun. I love that.
That's gonna be so interesting.
I can't wait. Dude, I'm so excited. I'm gonna troll you so hard in the
I
chat.
know. Ban.
Exactly right. Just time me out consecutively. Just never let me actually say anything. The next thing, we kind of don't really. I don't know if this is the correct tier, or let me change that. I don't know if this is the correct like term for this tier, but someone who takes Twitch as like a side job or a job, right? They set a schedule. They are taking Twitch with some level of seriousness, and they are generating some sort of income. They're probably a Twitch affiliate who is generating income and sort of, has expectations of assuming that income or receiving that income when they hit the button.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say job, because I think a lot of people see it similar to their day job or their full-time job,
Mm,
whatever produces the income to pay bills.
sure.
Um, if you clock in at 6 o'clock at night, hit the live button, you end at 9 o'clock at night. That's 3 hours. I should be making $10 an hour. That's
Right.
$30. That is not the case.
Right.
When you own a business, it's not hours equal money
Yeah.
at all.
And this is where I'm super excited to have you as a part of the podcast with me. As a small business owner yourself, as a successful entrepreneur, you know exactly what it's like where those two things don't work.
No, no, not at all.
Yeah.
You learn very quickly, especially when you go full time.
Mm-hmm.
The value that you put out equals the money. Not time literally means nothing
Mm.
when you own a business.
Mm-hmm.
And some people might see that, as a career or a salaried worker. But I would even take it a step further, because a salaried worker, work may never technically stop, or time doesn't equal the amount of money you're paid.
Right.
but you're still working underneath someone, and it's
For
still
someone.
it's a guaranteed paycheck, right?
Right. Yeah.
As an owner, nothing is guaranteed.
Yep.
The only guarantees that I have are the current contracts that I have signed by businesses right now.
Yep.
Once those run out, literally nothing is guaranteed.
Right.
So you have to fight and bring enough value every single day to make sure that you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Now, when you get established and you're 5, 6, 7 years in business, a lot of people say, that business owner barely works, or that business owner only works 25 hours a week, which they paid their dues to get there. Um, Time does not equal money to them, and nor should it.
Yeah.
Value equals money,
Yes.
which leads to free time.
True. And it's funny that you describe it that way, because I think, in a sense, that's exactly sort of one of the underlying goals that we hope to hammer home with this podcast in general is, if I'm not doing this as a hobby, there's no really next tier. We mention the tier, but the next level, it's either hobby or it's kind of, if I want to be successful, hobby or owner. It's not job. It's not career. Like, in the sense of I'm salaried, and I mean, you really have to, if you want to be successful, treat it as I'm the owner of a business and I need to run it like a business. I have responsibilities. We touch on it in this section, and we're going to touch on it in depth as a future episode. As soon as I start bringing in revenue to a certain threshold, I am responsible from a tax implication standpoint, just like the owner of a business is. So it's really interesting, because I think while we see 3 or 4 of these tiers, there really is, in practicality, only 1 or 2. I'm either a hobbyist or I need to be an owner.
Right. And a lot of people, and I understand, because I did work as an employee for plenty long. When you have that mindset of, I'm clocking in, I'm guaranteed to get paid this amount today.
Right.
It's very difficult to get out of that mindset.
Sure.
Because it's complete opposite. You've never dealt with that through your entire life. No matter what age you are, you could be 22. You've probably been working since you were 16, 17.
Yeah.
Most older teenagers have jobs, and they're hourly jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very difficult to kind of flip that and say, what am I doing today that brings value that could in turn eventually make me some money?
Sure.
Not, I worked on this overlay for 4 hours, I should get a $40 return here in the next week.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
No. And I think that also brings into the point, what are you spending your time on? Is it bringing value to others?
Right.
There were times in my early business career ownership that I would spend 3 hours on an activity, and then I would look back a couple days later and be like, that activity literally meant nothing to bringing in revenue for this business. Why did I even do it?
Mm-hmm.
There is a quadrant, and we can post this, I think, somewhere once I find it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a quadrant system that kind of tells you, it puts your mind around activities that are actually profitable for you, activities that need to be done but don't need to be done right away, activities that are a complete waste of time, or activities that you need to do this today and every day to actually bring in revenue.
Got it. And
I
figuring
think
out those 4.
Figuring out those 4 is crucial to treating Twitch as a business, as it should be treated.
Sure. No, that makes sense. And, you sort of touched on it, and obviously we respect, your acumen and your success as a business owner. I look up to you as somebody who is, sustained a career working for themselves as opposed to working for someone else. And your opinion matters greatly to me. And figuring out how much time to spend on each of those things, and what is time that is wasteful for me but feels like it's important, but then actually figuring out that it's not actually beneficial or valuable, That's a learning curve. It takes time. It
Mm.
takes maturity. It takes, just learned experience to be able to figure out and deduce what that is. Me personally, I hope that this podcast can be one of those tools and resources that, while we agree that there's not one way to do all of this, our collective 2 cents and the feedback and information that we bring from the guests that we have on hopefully will speed up that learning curve for you. Maybe help you identify things that I'm doing that maybe I don't necessarily need to do. I could probably set those aside. I could put them in that bucket of things I need to do in the future, maybe not today, or things that I didn't know that I need to be doing right now in each and every day, like you said, that quadrant, and then apply those into my routine immediately.
Yeah. And I think, especially with Twitch, a lot of these activities could fall in two quadrants at the same time.
Sure.
So it's not necessarily a end all be all, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
You kind of have to decide where are you in your Twitch journey,
Sure.
and
And
how do you place?
and it changes.
Yeah, it
We
does.
talked a little bit about that. I know for me, I was a hobbyist when I started. I didn't realize that I was going to have a passion for this, that I was going to be good at it, that people were going to be interested in coming to watch me. It took time and energy and me being open to changing my perception on what I thought this was going to be. And then, the other reality, communicating with my spouse, my family, my friends, figuring out what works between the other meaningful relationships, my full-time job, how to balance. I mean, it's okay. It's probably going to change for you. And it might go backwards. You may get into this and be like, wait a minute, this business side I wasn't necessarily ready for. I'm going to take a step back and just be a hobbyist streamer. And that's okay too.
And it could change back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're not changing it every single month.
Right.
You might start as a hobby. You might change it into business. You might think, I don't have time for this. This is not important. Let's change it back to a hobby. And then a year and a half later, you've got the time for it. You've got the energy for it. Maybe you're making a little bit more disposable income that you can actually push into the business.
Yeah.
And off you go again.
Yep.
This is not a time crunch per se. Streaming could be done until you're 75.
Sure.
You're not a pro athlete that has,
yes, a limited window physically to be able to make this happen.
Unless you're Tom Brady.
Sure, right. Speaking of, recording this right after Tom hoists for the 7th time. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. That man's something else, man. And you know what hurts my heart the most? As I sit here in episode 2 wearing my Ohio State hoodie. That's a Michigan man. The most decorated quarterback in the history of football is going to be an alumni of my arch rival. Ain't that something, man? Hurts my heart.
You got to give the man a little respect, though.
Hurts my heart.
I mean, top of his game for 20, 25 years.
True. Yeah. Okay, so we establish you find yourself, you do some self-reflection. It's okay to come back and forth out of these tiers. But let's say you find yourself in the, okay, I'm actually going to consider this as a business, right? I'm going to take some of the steps necessary in order to treat this like the business that it is. I've had enough introductory success that I'm probably going to have to pay some taxes on this. I need to do all the things necessary to fulfill the business goals. What are some things that you should know about business?
Business is a risk. You are not guaranteed success at all.
Yeah.
If you went back to episode 1, I don't know if you listened to it or if you haven't, the first 10 minutes, we are just listing off stats telling you how often businesses fail.
And how high the hill is that you got to climb.
I mean, this isn't all positivity. That there are factual negative things about owning a business.
Mm-hmm.
And once you accept those and once you can actually push through those, it's one of the most rewarding things I think you can possibly do, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's a complete mindset shift, and it's almost an ultimate goal, to be honest, to be self-employed. that's what anyone wants, to make income by yourself without anyone else's help. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's a risk. Like it is a huge risk, but at the same time, are you taking enough of that risk and putting it within your content? Because a lot of people, they might just turn the game on, they turn the stream on, they try and copy Nick Merckx, or I don't care. Name a streamer that has over 100 viewers. They try to copy them, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, usually those Twitch partners have, inherently something that you won't have, whether it be equipment, sponsorships, security, established communities, whatever it is. I do think, and we have talked about, we will always talk about making sure that you identify, watch, see what these successful streamers are doing and what it looks like, and then emulate, recreate, repackage for your own success. But yes, if you are straight copying and ripping without having any of the other things, aka if you are firing up your stream, streaming 8 hours a day, and just being a gamer with no other tangible things to bring to the table as an entertainer, you're most likely not going to be successful. And the risk that you are taking, if you're trying to treat this as a business and take it seriously, there's a good chance it's going to fail. And unfortunately, that's all on you and all on your decisions, right? And what you decide to do with your time. Especially, unfortunately, I think some people get caught up in the grind mindset, or they have free time and or a deep passion for gaming. That to me is one of the things that I think can disrupt your flow, can certainly set you back, because if you're listening to this and you don't realize it from episode 1 or episode 2 so far, our opinion is that you are putting yourself at a disadvantage if you consider your streaming career and your content as just being a gamer. If you don't recognize that it requires you to be an entertainer of some sort, right? You have to bring some sort of additional value above and beyond just playing video games in front of a screen with a camera on you.
And I think the key here is, obviously this isn't as risky of a business to start as if you opened up a laundry center or something. You're not going to spend $100,000 on washers and dryers to start a Twitch stream
and a brick and mortar business, like a store.
Right.
You don't need the facility usually.
So that already mitigates your risk, but we're trying to kind of push even more mitigation from your risk by helping you kind of establish a plan versus actually just going in there and winging it.
Yes. And having a plan, in my mind, a big portion of having a plan doesn't necessarily mean that every single minute of your stream has to be planned. Every single thing you do, every single game, there's some great value in spontaneity on stream. It can be very entertaining. But in general, what we mean is make sure that you make strong impressions on people when you are live. Leave them with something lasting and leave them with a feeling that you take this seriously. You value your content. You're not just winging it. You have, some organization, some general flow and vibe to what you're doing and how you're doing it, so that they will be left with a lasting impression. Because I'm sure if you have spent any time on any of these platforms where there's live streamers, whether it be Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, it only takes a couple seconds for you to feel and get a sense of if this person takes this thing any bit seriously or not, especially from a discoverability, right? Like we said, if you're a hobbyist or, if you are the streamer who has a built-in community because you're a part of someone else's community, which is a whole thing we'll touch on in a future episode. but you may have inherent viewership and support for your Twitch channel when you go live because you are active in a big part of someone else's community. Totally fine. Great. But your long-term growth and success is not going to be sustained on the back of someone else's community. It may get a kickstart. You may get a little bit of a foundation going, but you have to do the work to continue to foster relationships and develop and identify new people to come into your community and then stay. And having a plan for your stream, not just winging it, is going to go a long way in helping you figure out how to do that.
And that almost plays on when we talked about understanding your audience.
Yeah.
But you got to understand yourself first.
Yeah.
What do you bring to the table? How can you provide an entertainment value? It's not always. Not everyone's a stand-up comedian. Actually, that's one of the very hardest entertainment jobs in the industry.
Sure.
I don't think Tim is a stand-up comedian. He knows he's not, but he does know he's funny.
Sure.
So he plays on his fatness a lot, or he plays on his raging a lot.
He leans
for his audience.
He leans into the things that he knows are unique to him, or that, like you said, can accentuate the funniness that he does have inherently.
Yeah. He doesn't sit there and try and tell stupid jokes. I mean, yes, he's got his stupid dad joke every now and then.
Sure.
But he's not just trying to be Kevin Hart.
Right. And has a list, a whole script, a whole, series of things that he's planning on talking about. And that's knowing your audience, knowing yourself, making a strong impression. I think 100% goes a long way in terms of having a plan. Like I said, I don't think you need to have everything drilled down minute by minute, the order of events that you're going to do for the day per se. I do think it does help for you to have a stream schedule, for you to have sort of an idea of what you're going to do, especially if it's clever or creative. But there can be a lot of value in just chatting and going with the flow for an entire stream as well. But in general, just know that at any one moment, someone could find you, someone could raid you, and you want to make sure you have a good impression and be able to hold on to, cultivate those relationships and establish, or just continue to make, a really great stream for your community that is there. That is a ton of value in terms of, being treating it as a business. We need customers, right?
Yeah.
We need people who will spread through word of mouth or will leave you a good Yelp review, right? We need to leave them with a good impression, with a good taste in their mouth, that your stream is enjoyable, that it's professional, that it is something of value worth checking out the next time that I am enjoying my leisure time and I've got this litany of options of what I can do with it and who I can go watch. Why do they want to come back to you? Find it, lean into it, and continue to do that.
And I think you touched on something that we don't have written down that is crucial in developing your Twitch community is referrals.
Yeah.
If probably somebody that comes in your stream, they know other Twitch people. Like you just know people. You get to know people from the various streams that you're in, and you might follow the same people. If you're friends on Twitch with somebody, you can actually see who they're watching.
Yeah.
That is a referral.
Yep.
You've got to think about businesses are truly run on the amount of referrals they get. It has nothing to do, even though I'm in marketing, I understand that the value of a referral is literally the most important thing you can do in business.
Yeah.
And once you get to that point, all you have to do is take referrals. I'm not saying that you can just stop producing content. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying once you get big enough, the referrals will just come and you will just continue to grow.
Yeah. Yep. And that's important. It's really, it could be something as simple as, just taking really good care of the people who come into your stream after a raid, or an interaction that you have on a different platform that carries over into your stream. Oftentimes I find success just checking in on a streamer that I like to watch, and because I've had positive interactions with them and developed a good relationship, I'll get a shout out in their chat, and a handful of people from their stream follow me, or at least get familiarized with my name and associate a positive interaction between me and them the next time they maybe stumble across my content. Um, there's not one right way to run your stream. I don't think everybody has to be Mr. Nice Guy, right, in order to be successful. But at the same time, you do want to establish and leave a strong impression. I would assume most likely to be positive. You don't want to develop a reputation where people don't like you. You don't necessarily have to be Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Mrs. Goody Two Shoes, but at the same time, a strong impression that will lead people into referring you in the future is going to be really beneficial for you. And trying to foster those as often as possible should be at the top of the list for you.
Right. And it doesn't have to be, there's so many successful streamers that have completely different kinds of streams.
Oh, there's millions.
Like you said, you don't always have to be Mr. Positive or Mrs. Positive.
Yeah.
If that's what you want, great. If that plays with your personality,
right.
Yes, please do that. That's exactly what Kimbro does.
Yep.
If you haven't watched Kimbro, the guy I'm talking to, he is the most positive, awesome dude in a Twitch stream that's chill, and people can come in there and feel like they can dump whatever feelings they're having, and Kimbro's going to respond positively to that. He's going to make you feel welcome. He's going to make you feel better about yourself. Just because he plays on that personality.
Yeah.
He has.
And like you're saying, the way that I do it doesn't have to be the way that you do it. But the one thing you do need to do is take a second to figure out what the brand identity is for you and your channel. What is the thing that makes you stand out? What personality trait or characteristic that you have that does it differently for you? And then lean on that and make that a part of your representation. We have written down here, it could be something as simple as the clothes you wear, right? The certain look that you have. There's a ton of Twitch streamers that, you don't necessarily have to go all the way to Dr. Disrespect and have a full-on moniker and a different character, but you could be known for, a particular hairstyle. You could be known for always wearing a particular type of clothing throughout your stream. It doesn't necessarily, we just want you to think outside the box. It doesn't necessarily have to be, I got to self-examine myself and figure out what it can be something as unique as your setup and your personality. It could be your voice. It could be all of these different things. Find it, harness it, work it into the plan. Make sure that you're leaving people with a strong first impression or a solid lasting impression.
Yeah, I mean, you could even be, I think it's consistency is what we're trying to say. Be consistent with your personality. If you find something that really works, and it's going to be trial and error, depending on where you are in your stream journey. If you're just in that starting period, it's going to be trial and error. What do people like that I can actually deliver on a consistent basis?
Yeah. And that goes into having a plan, right? My plan 100%. Is to sort of, not only my plan of like what I'm going to do, how am I going to look, how am I going to sound, how am I going to treat people? If you haven't thought about what am I going to do if I get trolls or hackers or, something negative, you just sort of have to prepare yourself for all of those things, especially like I said, if you're taking it as a business, know that there's inherent risks, know that just like any other good business, we have to have a plan. We have to be kind of prepared for, think of it as a Twitch rainy day fund. We've got to be able to sustain any sort of issue or blow. What are you going to do if you get a tech problem, right? How many, multiple times for me, have I been on stream and Fortnite doesn't want to boot? Am I able to have a plan B in my head at all times about what I'm going to do for my stream for the day? So I don't just pack it in and say, I'm done, I can't do it, and leave everybody hanging. I can still create value. I can still have a meaningful stream and be successful and, continue to leave a lasting, strong impression on people. You just have to have thought about it just a little bit and come up with a plan so that you can be consistent and not just leave everybody feeling like you're winging it. Like you're just pulling up the stream, firing up the video game and going.
I've got the second Stream ER challenge.
Let's do it.
Pull up 3 random VODs you've had watch them completely and ask yourself, literally take notes. Be like, what could I have done better here?
I love
What
it.
could I have changed? What could I have done here that would have been funnier? What could I have done here that would have been more interactive with chat? Find some positives, sure, but you really need to examine yourself and say, how can I get better?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just turn it on, turn the stream on, hit live, go through it, interact with chat, and they never go back to their VODs.
Yeah.
How do you expect to actually become a better streamer
Yeah.
without actually analyzing what's going on?
And specifically too, Nate, I would say if you can remember, especially if it's within the last few days that you went live, go back to your VOD. I feel like a lot of people, if they do associate or interact with their VODs after their stream, it's because they need a clip and they may
Mhm.
scrub through their content and find the clip or the highlight and call it a day. What I'm saying is take one of those days that you would stream for 8 hours and go back and watch some old videos, take some notes like Nate's challenging all of us to do, and not only find the moments where I wasn't good, figure out, oh, I remember this part of the stream after this person followed me, I had, 15 people in the chat, or I had like a relatively high viewer rating for, whatever time frame it was. How was I? Did I do something that different? Was I able to hold on to those viewers? What was I looking like? How did I interact? Not just go back and watch, the negative things or I'm just saying on both sides because I think there's a lot of value to be gained in, what was I like when there was nobody watching? Was I able
Mhm.
to continue to talk and be engaging? Was I able to make my content still entertaining even when chat was slow? Right? Did I generate something of interest? Did my gameplay generate something of interest? Analyze those kinds of things, take things, find takeaways in all of those VODs, and then make yourself better from them.
And I do want to say that some of you will go out there and just kill yourself on I could have been this, I could have done
Sure.
this minute, this minute, this minute.
It's a
You
great
don't have to
point.
just destroy yourself.
It's a great point.
You just have to have a little common sense, get better, but you have to realize you will not be a perfect streamer ever.
As I say,
Like,
ever.
ever. The biggest streamers are not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Michael Jordan was not a perfect basketball player. He was about as
Yeah.
perfect as you can get, but he was not perfect. He had turnovers, multiple turnovers a game.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
happens.
And
You will
and
make mistakes.
and to your point, I don't like this word, but for lack of a better term, the grind of being a streamer, the ups and downs, the highs and lows of this particular profession that we are choosing to get involved in. It has inherent stress and anxiety, self-doubt, issues built in. The last thing you need to do is figure out more ways to upset yourself,
Yeah.
right? So, to your point, we're not suggesting that you go back and you do this exercise or even get into a habit of doing it. Maybe it's once or twice a month that you take a look, not just, once in a blue moon. Maybe it's more regular. But don't turn it into a scathing self-doubt, rage-inducing session. It's not worth that. It's not worth going back and making yourself upset. I say this to Rita all the time. She's inherently an anxious person, and she struggles with uh, perceived stress and anxiety. I know a lot of streamers do as well. If your body is physiologically going to react to the stress and anxiety, release all of the different chemicals that are associated with being nervous and upset and afraid, if you already have to deal with that, don't do it twice. Don't do it before it's even happened, right? And then do it when it actually happens, or don't do it when, there's no actual threat or issue. This is just merely observation, note taking. Put a couple of thoughts in your head like, hey, next time that I interact or have this thing happen, good or bad, I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to continue to do what I did well, right? That kind of thing.
I think you gotta know yourself before you start this process. You gotta know yourself on what's gonna trigger you and what's not.
Sure.
Because this is about making yourself better. It's
Yeah.
not about mentally just destroying you.
Of course.
We are not here for that.
No, nope, not at all. This is a mental health awareness positivity place, right? Nate, last time we talked in episode 1, we talked a little bit about imperfect action. And I know that I had some people reach out to me and want you to go a little bit more onto this topic, this massive imperfect action concept that you're really familiar with in business. I want us to go a little bit more into this because as a part of establishing a plan and not just winging it, I think this is actually really, it still ties in. It's still very relevant.
It does. There's a very fine line between establishing a plan and never ever getting anything done versus just jumping in and you have no idea what's going on because it's just off the rip, off the cuff.
Yeah.
There's a very middle ground there that you cannot think about something so much to the point where I can't even hit the live button because I'm still not prepared after 6 hours of writing notes down about myself.
Right.
Or I am just so lazy that I can't even go back and watch my VOD and I'm just going to hit the live button and I still expect to be successful.
Yeah.
You have to keep that in mind. If it's just a hobby, this section isn't really for you. But if you're trying to treat this as a business and make income, there needs to be urgency within the preparation to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best way to say it. Don't get caught up on the stupid things. You've got to have some common sense. Are you going to spend 2 hours on an overlay, or are you going to spend 2 hours on 6 TikToks that you could prep for the upcoming week to release one every day?
Sure.
How do I take massive imperfect action? Massive action that is directed to actually help you grow is what I'm saying.
No, I love that. And I think, your example of TikTok is ideal. It's perfect. We talk about, I think everybody, if you're in the stream space, that you've heard people say, oh, you've got to create content on other platforms. But people don't necessarily know how to do that. And there doesn't necessarily always have to be a particular recipe or way to do it. It could just be a bunch of imperfect action steps, right? They don't necessarily have to be perfect content. It doesn't necessarily have to be stuff that takes forever for you to come up with, record, edit, put out. It could be something as fun and light as, 15 seconds of you in selfie mode talking about something or reacting to something. I know a lot of really successful Twitch streamers on TikTok who do duets. They're basically writing off of someone else's TikTok and just basically tagging on to the end of it. That a lot of times just making sure you're discoverable and creating content tends to be more successful and more useful than spending all of this time and energy really worrying and getting yourself wound up about what you're doing right or wrong, or feeling guilty that I didn't do anything today, right? It can be a mixture of things.
I think one thing that really helped me kind of put how do I take massive imperfect action into an actual step is I learned how to make Facebook Lives. I basically took a minute to think about what I was going to say. I took a minute and was live for a minute and told a story or told something. And then I rewatched it for a minute and I posted it. Done. You thought about it. You prepared. You did it. You analyzed it. You're gone.
Yeah.
That's probably technically it should be a 3-minute process, but
Sure.
5-minute, 10-minute process.
Yeah.
That is massive imperfect action.
Yep.
If you don't know, if you go live on a platform, a lot of more people get notifications of you actually being live.
Sure.
Rather than just posting something.
They have to scroll through and find it.
Yes.
Come across your content as opposed to getting probably a notification. I know at least on TikTok, that's the way that algorithm works. I know oftentimes I'll get them on Instagram as well.
Yep. And you kind of have to know, you got to figure out the platforms. TikTok is that is literally imperfect action. You could make the dumbest TikTok and it might go viral. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But Instagram, I think, is a little bit more targeted. if you make an Instagram post and you didn't really prep it at all, it's probably not going to do very well.
And same with a tweet, right?
Yeah.
They're all unique and different in their own ways. And actually, that ties in really nicely to, the next topic that we had today, which is, okay, we've established which person we're going to be, right? We're going to treat it as a business. We've accepted and, come to terms with the fact that there's risk in all business ventures. We've decided that we're going to start to make a plan. We're going to start to establish a routine and some consistency with our content. And then we're also going to not be afraid to take massive imperfect action, right? Those are the 4 things we've covered so far. The next part is, like, how do I really get people into my stream? How do I routinely and consistently get people to come and watch my content? And what does that look like? For me personally, one of my favorite strategies and things that I think everyone has access to, while there are different ways to do it, not everybody does it in a way that benefits them, which is leveraging social media properly and effectively. First things first, for me, my own 2 cents, my personal opinion on this, you should strive to have all of your social media accounts align with one another. It is already so hard to separate and stand out from the crowd. If you find me, if you come across me, you like my content somewhere, and then you go to your next favorite platform and you might want to follow me there, and you have a hell of a time finding me because my name isn't the same, spelled differently, or I'm not even on the platform at all, I don't even have an account made, to me, that is a huge misfire and something that is the lowest hanging fruit for us as a content creator that is potentially holding us back just as much as any other issue we may have.
Yeah, and that's a big one with you. And I completely agree. If you don't have the same name on everything, why? Like, you've got to figure out a way to have the same name on everything.
Yeah.
And
I would even go a step back, because a lot of people who listen to this are going to go, well, wait a minute. I have this established network. I have this XYZ. Even if you don't line everything up, at least be everywhere, right? At least be everywhere. I may not like TikTok. I may be one of those streamers who is like, TikTok's for teens, people making dance videos, people, doing stupid stuff. I don't like TikTok personally. I'm not going to use TikTok. I think that is a silly mindset and a failing business mindset. You should be where the people are. Whether or not you like it or not, at least make yourself there so that if they like it, they can find you, right? Are you going to stop somebody from coming to your Twitch stream because of, you wouldn't know, but like, you are X, whether it's too young, too old, too one gender versus the other. As long as you're not discriminating on who comes and finds your Twitch channel, you shouldn't stop yourself from being discoverable on a certain platform because you don't like that platform, or because your most comfortable demographic is not on that platform, right? You're doing yourself a disservice if that's the way that you treat your marketing and your social media approach. So just be everywhere. Even if we don't even get the name the same across the board, just be everywhere first.
The thing you have to remember is you are a content creator.
Yeah.
So you have to be on every platform.
Right.
You're not a YouTuber. You're not a Twitterer.
Right.
You're not a Twitcher.
Right.
You're a content creator. And I think a lot of people forget that when they say, I can't stand TikTok or I can't stand Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to kind of learn to live with it, because that's the only thing that's going to actually get people to your stream.
Yeah.
You might go viral on the platform that you dislike the most.
Yeah.
And guess what? You're going to be pretty thankful you posted that video.
Yeah, you are. Yep. You won't be so upset when it gains you notoriety and traction in the place that you want to be, but it's the platform that you didn't want to get viral on or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's interesting. there's a lot of like pride and like almost like a badge of honor when someone, you know, for a lot of people, I'm a Twitch streamer. Yeah, you are. You do stream primarily on Twitch. It is your primary platform. But you are, in order to be successful, a content creator. And a content creator means you are on more than one platform. You are most likely on all of them and discoverable and unique and dynamic on all of them. And it takes me into my next part. I want to say this. Here's the next piece of the puzzle for me on social media. You talked a little bit about it. You know that one of my big pet peeves is making sure your name is correct. For those of you who, you know, already have your establishment and you're kind of rock solid, you don't want to change, it's fine. If you are, you're like, oh, wait a minute, Brandon, Nate, that was a really good point. I should line up all my social media. And I've been waiting and wanting to change my name anyway. Namecheck.com. NAMECHK.com. What a wonderful tool. Essentially, go to this website, type in the name of whatever it is that you're trying to maybe make the account of, and it has this really cool overlay of probably 30 or 40 tiles at the bottom. And it will color code them green or red based on if that name is available on that account, on that platform. So within mere seconds, you don't have to go to each account and type in the name and look for it. This website will do that work for you. Get creative, get clever, figure out if this is going to work across all the major platforms for me, and then you can make the change or set up the account in the first place if you don't already have one there.
And those that are already established, you can always rebrand.
Yeah.
If you have a huge Twitch community or whatever, let your community know. You've got to set it up properly.
Yeah.
But they don't care if you rebrand.
No.
Riss did it.
And honestly, to your point, Riss did rebrand after she had probably over 1,000 followers on Twitch and, probably multiple thousands of followers on her Instagram account. I don't know if she did this, but it's a great opportunity to create a sense of ownership for your community on your channel. I'm a big proponent of that. People tend to want to be connected to and associated with a group that they helped build, right? We are all in-group, out-group creatures, right? As primates. By evolutionary standards, we like to wear the team colors of the group that we are associated with. Hard to do that on online platforms and online forums. One way to do that, do fun stuff like have your community help you come up with your new name. Give them a list of 3 or 4 that you've found. Tell them, I want to make sure that I'm discoverable and you guys can find me everywhere. Or on all the platforms that I'd like to be, and I'd like for them to be in alignment with each other. I'm going to make this change, but I need your help. Set up a poll, run the poll, figure out what the new name's going to be, but give these folks a chance to have input, and you'll be surprised at how much more they feel like it's their channel too.
And it might just come up randomly. That's exactly what happened to Riss. Somebody came up with that name, not her.
Sure.
But it worked.
And she embraces it fully.
100%. She loves it.
And aside from me mistyping her name a few times right after it happened, because I was so used to her saying it one way, it's complete. It's fine. I don't even think twice about it anymore.
No.
It's in the past now. Her old name and her old moniker and her old brand. Completely. And
I think that speaks to your name doesn't necessarily have to be easy. I think there's a fine line between can I say this name or can people read this name versus is this name just so ridiculous that nobody's going to understand it?
Yeah.
I find Twitch partners all the time. I'm like, what kind of name is this?
Right.
But it doesn't matter. If you brand yourself correctly, nobody cares.
Right. They'll figure out how to say it, or they'll come up with a way to remember it. If your content and your value and everything is better, if it's worthy enough, people will remember it and find it for sure.
Right.
The next thing I have on social media and the way to do it the right way in my mind, cross promote your other platforms on your platforms, right? Let people know on Twitch when you're live that you have these other places they can find you. Don't be afraid to tell them where you are discoverable. Don't be afraid to remind people on Twitter that you're on Instagram or TikTok, or you've got a YouTube channel that they can subscribe to, and vice versa, right? Find a way to cross pollinate so that you can figure out a way to make yourself discoverable to everybody. I can't tell you how many times I've sent up a tweet that I'm going to go live, but I get information from somebody who says, I found you on TikTok or I found you on Instagram. That kind of thing is really important, and making sure that people know it's the same person. I didn't see your live notification when you went live on Twitch on my era, right? I've got notifications turned on for you. I didn't see that, but I did see your Instagram story that said you were going live tonight. So I came in. That kind of thing, it's minor. It takes a little bit of pre-planning, takes a little bit of effort, but it can go a long way. And that's what it takes to be successful on this side of the business.
Every one of your viewers or community members spends their time on one specific platform the most.
Yeah.
Why would you neglect them?
Yeah.
By not telling them that you're live on their favorite platform.
Exactly. Or interacting with them, right?
Correct.
Responding to a comment that they left on this one, but you tend to like comments that are, left on Instagram. You open Instagram the most. So you let this wonderful comment or this golden opportunity to engage with somebody over here on this other platform, you let it sit idle for days and days and days.
One of the most annoying things I've ever seen was there was this Twitch partner, and I saw her. I can understand why, but she said, I don't ever answer DMs on Instagram. Ever. She don't even look. I can understand why as a female on Instagram, but I guess I can't get past the fact that how much interaction with a potential community member is she missing?
Sure. And it's hard. I will say, as the person who owns a personal Twitter account, a Kimbro Plays Twitter account, a streamer podcast Twitter account, right? To expand it over all these other, I cover all the social media for my job as well, my full-time gig. So I've got 4 or 5 accounts that I'm logged into on any one of these platforms at all times. It is not easy. It is a challenge. But that does not mean that we shouldn't take that challenge, or we shouldn't at least be open to the idea, right? If you are listening to this section or this part of the podcast and you're already like, just reconsider for a minute. Just sit there and think about how much more time would it actually take out of your day to make that account and let it sit idle, let it grow naturally like it's a stock that you've invested in. Let it gain followers, let it get exposure, right? That to me is a missed opportunity if you're not at least making all the platforms, cross-promoting, making sure people know that you're available on all of them. Okay. I was just going to say, Nate, now that you have them all set up, now we need to make content that is unique to each of them.
Right.
That's the next step in this process. Do not make a TikTok. Let me put it this way. Spend the extra few minutes to make sure that the thing that you're going to post on TikTok is in a vertical format and is under 60 seconds, the way TikToks are created and supposed to be, right? Don't post that picture on Instagram that is improperly formatted or has, a tweet that is, what you're trying to say is too lengthy and too wordy. Be really conscious and mindful of the different ways that the content is generated on each platform, and then, assimilate and work your way in to how that is supposed to work on that platform. Far too many times do I see people misusing the platform or not utilizing it to the fullest extent that they could have, just because it's like they don't take the extra effort to make sure that the content is unique and fine-tuned for that platform.
And I've seen a lot of people say, you go through TikTok and you see these gaming clips of the person is in a square in the middle, and it's in a vertical format, especially if it's Call of Duty or something like that.
Yeah.
And they wonder, how do they make that? Well, we will literally post a YouTube video. DaVinci Resolve is a free platform. It doesn't take that much computer power. You can make it in 5 minutes. It is not difficult.
Yeah.
So find the resources, put the effort into finding the resources on how to make the content fit the platform.
Right.
And not only, the aspect ratio, which is super important,
Yeah.
but also the actual content itself.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be posting the same thing on every platform because people are doing different stuff on each platform. Your Instagram pictures should show a completely different side of yourself than what your Twitter does,
Sure.
than what your TikTok does, than what your Twitch does.
Yeah.
You are a content creator. Yes, you should have the overall theme of all your stuff be together, but people don't want to go to Twitter and see a TikTok that's already on TikTok and then it's on Instagram Reels.
Mm-hmm.
That literally makes no sense to me. And people do it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they're lazy. I don't know if it's because they just don't want to do. I don't know. I don't know why, but don't do that. Please don't do that.
Well, and to tell you the truth, you can probably go through and take a look at any of the professional content creators, the ones that do it the right way. Go to, a Courage JD, go to, a Nick Merckx type of their social media platforms. Don't just observe how they do it on Twitch. Observe what they do on all these other platforms and how they make their content and how they uniquely create it for each of these other platforms. And, you can then learn a lot and emulate and try to figure out what works for you as far as that goes.
I saw a very cool. I agreed with part of it. I disagree with part of it. But Ludwig, however you say it,
Yeah.
did a video on how to grow your Twitch exponentially
Yep.
because he's done it. He basically says you need to structure everything into a YouTube video, and that will literally give you all the content you need for each platform. Maybe aside from Instagram. But you'll get sayings, you'll get, clips for TikTok. You might get something funny for Twitter.
Yep.
You might even get an idea for an Instagram picture, something. So you've got to structure your stuff in terms of, and this goes into the planning aspect. Plan what you're going to do from something. Don't just start.
Yeah.
And yes, we understand. We say, how do I take massive imperfect action? But you've got to plan a little bit. Every business has a business plan. You can't just start filming a YouTube video without knowing what you're doing.
Sure.
Right? So why would you do that on a live stream?
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes, random things happen and they're hilarious and that's awesome. You see actors do that all the time in movies. They might
Improvise.
do something off script.
Yeah.
That's great. But there's still a plan there.
Yep.
That makes the whole movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So
No,
that's kind of what he was talking about.
That's a great point. I love that idea.
He said, start your Twitch streams, find the title of what you want it to be, and build your content off of that. Because that will create not just a YouTube video, but it creates what you're going to do in your live stream. And then you can probably get funny phrases, or funny things that happen for TikTok and Twitter.
Yeah.
You're literally taken care of. And all you did was plan a live stream, basically.
Right.
There are examples that he gave. One bad example of a title: ranked Valorant with friends. What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
You're playing Valorant with friends. That is not catchy.
Right.
A good one would be, I'm currently ranking my favorite avatar clips. Which one is your favorite? That literally gives you multiple questions to ask your audience.
Yep.
Plus, it gives you a YouTube title to say, what is your favorite avatar clip?
Sure.
Or here I am ranking my favorite avatar clips.
Yep.
If you guys have never heard of Small Ant, if you go to Small Ant on YouTube, his YouTube titles literally are gold.
Top notch.
They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he basically takes his inspiration from Mr. Beast. I ate $100,000 worth of eggs. you're gonna click on that video.
I was like, what is going on?
What is happening?
Yeah.
But you know what? You can turn that into a live stream too.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you have to go buy $100,000 worth of eggs, but take what they're doing and turn it into a live stream.
I love that idea. I love pre-planning your title with the intention of eventually turning your live stream content into a YouTube video that you can edit down, into a clip that you can get later, into, a funny 15-second, 30-second moment for TikTok. Instagram might be a little more tricky, but Instagram does have reels. Instagram does have Instagram stories for some longer form content. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I appreciate that advice. I think that's really useful. It's something that I know I even struggle with. I need to do a better job of, and it's a learning process for me as well. I don't know if everybody knew this. Time saver, quick tip. If you go into the settings on OBS, I'm not sure about Streamlabs, but at least for Stream Elements for OBS, in the settings, you can actually keybind a screenshot button. And it's actually really handy. There's replay buffer and there's some other things for you to catch clips and stuff. But at the very least, at the end of your stream, once you've rated out, I'm no longer live, but I still have OBS or Stream Elements or Streamlabs open. Go ahead and take a couple extra seconds and use that hotkey for your screenshot. Set up a scene inside of OBS that has no other overlay. It's just you and your webcam. Maybe it's full screen. And take a screenshot. Get yourself a thumbnail for a YouTube video. Get yourself a thumbnail or some sort of image that you can create for whether it be Instagram or a TikTok cover. Go ahead and take that extra minute because you know that, this stream, I've got some gold content. This will definitely come out and I'll turn this into a YouTube video. Don't get yourself into the editing of a YouTube video and pigeonhole yourself where now I don't really have a good thumbnail. Now I don't really have a good picture of myself or of any of the content that I got, and I'm kind of stuck. Now I don't have the content to where I want, or it's not going to look as good as I would have liked. So just a little thought nugget for you as it relates to planning out your stream. You can certainly maybe just have a notepad on your desk and write down a couple to-dos. I want to make sure that I get a couple clips during my stream. I want to make sure and write out my stream title before I hit live. I want to make sure that I put at the end, don't forget to take a thumbnail screenshot in OBS. A little bit of planning. Like you said, we're not talking about locking up your whole day and going into complete shutdown, but just take a few moments to think about what you're doing before you do it. That way, when it's live and the bullets are flying, you're already planned, you're ready to execute.
And I think what we're trying to convey here is that a lot of people say, I don't have time to make all this content. Well, you can work smart and hard at the same time.
That's it.
And save yourself hours upon hours. You don't have to even edit down a Twitch live stream that says trying to beat the Mario Kart 64 record on Rainbow Road.
Yeah.
That is a YouTube video in itself. Literally, it's you trying to beat it.
Yeah. I would even go the next step, Nate. You don't even anymore have to go back into your VODs and find highlights and get clips. I know of a website called Athenoscope where you set up a free account on this platform. You tie Athenoscope to your Twitch stream. As soon as you get done, especially if it's on a game that is sort of approved by Athenoscope, a couple that come to my mind, Fortnite, Rocket League. It uses computer machine learning to figure out moments where you had kills or moments where you made a smart play. And not only will it make highlights, not only will it make clips, it'll actually turn a collection of clips into a highlight for you for free, send you an email to your inbox and say, hey, we're done. You're ready to download and export this clip. Now, be aware it does have a little watermark that has their logo, right? It's fine. But if you're just in a spot where I'm just needing to generate content, I need to be smarter with my time, smarter with my energy, something as simple as Athenoscope as a resource for you to use saves you countless hours. Then you just turn around and that's your content.
Yeah. I mean, these programs and the ability to really think outside the box will save you days probably throughout the course of a year.
Oh, definitely.
Um, one of the Ludwig terms was yoink and twist. A lot of people say I don't know how to make content. I'm not funny enough. I'm not good enough. Literally go to Mr. Beast or go to Small Ant or go to Tim Tapman, go to Nick Merck's channel.
Or even better, go to your favorite YouTube creator if you're in a niche market, right? Go to the League of Legends YouTuber that you follow, the Madden franchise mode content creator you follow. Take a look at what they're doing, how creative they're being with their types of videos. And like you said, I guess technically Ludwig said, yoink and twist.
Really, take the content and make it your own.
Yeah.
Not steal. You're not stealing anything. You're just kind of making it your own.
Yeah. Repurpose.
It's not, yeah, it's literally a repurpose. Welcome to Marketing 101 since 1901.
Right.
Okay? Like, people still are doing it, and they're still very successful at it.
Yeah. It's
So
a great
just start reading titles of your favorite YouTuber.
Take a look.
The big YouTubers.
Take a look at the thumbnail. Examine how it's done. Examine the take inventory. I do this. I started to do this with my own. Take inventory of the thumbnails on YouTube that catch your eye. What are some of the common themes about them? Is there a specific color? Is there a specific image? Do they typically have faces in them? Do they not? What do the faces look like? Right? Not only just the titles, but what stops and catches your eye? Because I bet if it gets you, it's probably going to get the person you're trying to get to.
Yeah. One of his biggest examples was Ludwig added to YouTube video titles, and basically he titled his stream, "I'm going to give my credit card to the stream chat." And he took that from somebody giving away prepaid debit cards and something else. I can't remember what the video was.
Mm-hmm.
But if that video doesn't catch your title,
Sure.
catch your attention, I don't know what will. Like, he literally gave his credit card to stream. Like, that's very catchy. I'm not saying you have to do something crazy like that.
Sure.
I'm not saying that. But yoink and twist.
Yoink and twist. It's a great one. I was going to say, you had a couple more on this list. What else did you have?
I did have a couple more. Find viewer games with your favorite streamers. Every streamer, I'm not going to say every streamer. Most streamers do viewer games. Jump in and see what happens.
Yeah.
You might make a weird connection and get a shout out from
I love that.
You might get a dub. Wrist jump. We jumped into that Ginger Girl stream the other day, and she's very big streamer. We got a dub in our customs. She noticed.
Right? Or there's a good chance that that streamer, you might be able to catch a clip right off of their stream. You might be able to potentially go back and get their VOD if they didn't delete them.
Mm-hmm.
I played with X streamer and we got a win. That's your YouTube video.
Easy. A lot of streamers do 1v1s on Warzone.
Yeah.
A lot of streamers do Fortnite viewer games.
Yep.
A lot of streamers do whatever game you play, you can probably find a way to get in with a big streamer.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that they're going to shut you out. I'm not going to say any of that. But I'm saying at least try and make a connection.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very scared of big streamers, saying they're not going to notice me. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. It depends on how you approach it. But these people started where you were, so they understand it.
Yep.
So I don't think anybody's going to be a straight up just douche to you. Try. And if you don't connect with one, try another.
Yeah.
There's enough bigger streamers out there.
Sure. We talked about the stats last episode.
Yeah. Just give it a try. Take massive imperfect action. It's like join a viewer game. You're playing your favorite game anyways. It's not that hard. Anyways, my next thing is big events. He was big on big events. Promoting something that is so over the top can boost your viewership. A lot of streamers don't do it. A lot of streamers may try to do it, but they don't plan it well. I'm not talking about like custom Warzone or anything like that. I'm talking like real big events that you're doing something crazy, or you can somehow find a connection to play with somebody big or somebody noteworthy. Um, there are all kinds of things you can do to create large events. And it might be a 30-day marketing promotion, not I'm going to post on my Instagram story because I'm doing this big thing and nobody sees it. So it's a lot of prep, but I think it's a lot of worth, a
Yeah,
lot of
no, I
value.
agree. I think so too.
Um, and then we talked about a checklist. I think you had mentioned it before. Do a streaming pre-checklist that so you don't forget anything. But why don't you do a social streaming checklist? Did I post on TikTok today? Did I post on Instagram today? Did I post on Twitter today?
Yeah,
Just make a checklist. It's not hard.
it is, and knock out those platforms, in whatever interval you think makes the most sense for the time you have, right? Maybe take a look at how long does it take me to make a TikTok? How long does it take me to send out a quick tweet that's relevant? And then, maybe figure out the allotment of time required. I know that today I'm going to have 2 hours tonight, and I'm going to be able to do some of that when I get done with my responsibilities for the day.
You will be very surprised how much stuff you can get done if you pre-plan just a little bit instead of just going off the cuff. You'd be very surprised. Well, Kimbro, I think that is probably it for today. We do have one more section we're going to kind of add to this.
Yeah.
We're going to call it Content Corner.
Content corner.
The most interesting thing we saw on Twitch this week.
Yes.
What is yours?
Well, this one is a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? I'm cheating. I'm cheating here in the first ever version of Content Corner because it's not technically what I saw on Twitch. It's something that I saw on TikTok that I tried in person in my own content, and I can tell you it works. So, if you didn't know, and if you're keeping up at all with what's going on in the streaming space, YouTube gaming is coming hard after Twitch to take the throne on top gaming live streaming platform. Obviously, we know how big YouTube is in general. Everybody, Nate and I talked about this earlier. Everybody goes to YouTube. Grandparents, parents, husbands, wives, kids. Everybody at this stage knows about YouTube. At some point, everybody and their brother, especially these younger generations who are coming through, are going to be searching out content creation of their favorite video games or their favorite things, whether it be if your stream is music related, music production, live music, you're a DJ and you stream on Twitch. Whatever it is, there's going to be a place. What did you say earlier, Nate? Everybody searches everything on YouTube.
Literally. If you are looking for a video, you could search it on Bing, Google, whatever. It's going to take you to YouTube.
It's going to take you to YouTube. So, YouTube is stepping up their game. 2 things recently that they released that you need to be aware of. First and foremost, live streaming on YouTube. Now, as of 3 or 4 days ago, I was recording this, you can get clips. So previously, if you were to live stream to YouTube, you had some functionality. There was chat. There were some things, especially if you were monetized, you could, do some emotes and get some subscribers. But that was a big limiting factor for a lot of people making the move to YouTube as their main streaming platform because you couldn't take clips easily from your live stream. Just like you can on Twitch, there's a quick little button right down at the bottom next to the settings window and the full screen window. Quickly take a clip of whatever content you are trying to do when you're live streaming. Kind of working along the same lines as far as YouTube stepping up their game. And this is where I took and found some success in my own content. YouTube is now releasing what they're calling YouTube Shorts. You may not have even noticed them yet, but you have YouTube Shorts if you've got the YouTube app on your phone. While you're listening to this, if you've never heard of this and you don't know what's going on, open up the YouTube app, go to your homepage when you're signed in to your account, scroll down through the first 5 or 6 recommended videos that you have. And soon you're going to notice, if you're paying attention, that they have a brand new section of videos that are lined up kind of stacked side to side horizontally. They're smaller boxes, and those are YouTube shorts that have made what they're calling the shelf, kind of like the home page, the highlight page of YouTube. They work and function just like a TikTok. They're vertical format, they're short, they're snappy. Once you open one, you can swipe from the bottom through to the next one. Right on the home page or of the main page when you're watching a YouTube short, you can subscribe to that YouTube channel right there in the front. If you are in a spot where you are on Twitch, Facebook gaming, you are kind of dabbling into YouTube, or you would like to start, but you're not really sure that you have the editing software, take some of your clips, find a way to edit them so that they're vertical, make them under 60 seconds. YouTube on their website even says preferably 15 seconds. That's it. Start posting to YouTube, but using these YouTube shorts. All you have to do is put hashtag shorts in the title of the video. YouTube is smart enough to take those videos and sort of throw them up to viewers using their algorithm that are relevant to you. I posted 3 YouTube shorts in the last week. Mind you, my personal Kimbro Plays YouTube channel has 240 subscribers. We're enough to have our own custom channel name, but I'm not monetized on YouTube. I've not actually had content that I've wanted to have and had a bunch of traction off of YouTube yet. I gained 30 subscribers in the last 7 days, and I had 3 videos go over 700 views, including one that went 1.4 thousand. YouTube Shorts is here. It's powerful, and it's helping people find you. You need to take advantage of it. Nate, what you got?
Clutch information, Kimbro.
Thank you, sir.
I think most of the time we may not have that good of information for you. So he set the bar pretty high. Mine's more funny. I've become pretty good friends with a guy named Pike. He's Pike TTV, Pike_TTV on Twitch.
Shout out Pike. We love Pike.
Very ingenious stream he had, I believe was, I guess a few days ago from this recording. He had, his viewership was, I don't know, double, triple what it normally was. Basically the whole gang was in there. We all knew each other. We were having a good time. And we randomly came across that Pike didn't know what a brothel was. And so we were making fun of him for that. He was making fun of Avora, who's another streamer. He's a mod for Avora. She was making fun of him for that. And it somehow turned into Pike. Somebody had mentioned to Pike to start analyzing hot tub streams on Twitch. So Pike literally took a 180. He was playing a game called 7 Days to Die. I don't know if you ever played that before. He literally cut it. He opened up Twitch, and he just literally, off the cuff, started analyzing hot tub streams. It was one of the funniest things I've ever been a part of. Only probably 15 to 20 people saw it, but it was amazing Twitch content. And that just kind of goes to show you, do what your audience wants. And he was very wise enough to understand this is funny. Let's do it. Let me lean into this instead of, butting my head saying, no, I'm supposed to play this game today.
Yeah.
Your plan might change in the middle of stream. Go with it.
Roll with it. Good for you, Pike. And tying it back into what we talked about earlier, he leaned into not only understanding his audience and being comfortable with himself as a content creator, but Pike is probably inherently funny and has a good sense of humor and can laugh at himself. And there you go. He leans in on those traits, those characteristics, and he has a banger of a stream. And now he's left that positive impression on all of those people that were in there hanging out. And people are going to reminisce and be excited about coming to check out Pike in the future. Maybe just because we could find that spark of magic again in our next stream, potentially.
Yeah. You just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
good for Pike. That's fun. Yeah. Content Corner. We figured that we would start to dive into things that we've seen that are interesting in the space, whether it be funny, whether it be positive, whether it be informative, just a little bit different than whatever the topic is for for the day. So if you enjoy the stream, you enjoy listening to us, and you want to fast forward to the end just to listen to Content Corner each week, that's fine too.
We also don't blame you.
We also don't blame you, but we're excited to do that, and hopefully you guys have some good ideas. And if you have a really good Content Corner and you're finding this, especially on something like YouTube where there's a full version of the video and you can comment below, definitely suggest you guys leaving your Content Corner in the bottom in the comments below, and we'll respond, and we'll all kind of enjoy sharing that together. I'm super excited about what we've got coming up on the podcast. We've definitely workshopped a lot of ideas. We've heard your guys' feedback. We're obviously open to more, but I wanted to plug a little bit. We're going to have a guest on, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to collaborate properly and successfully. Tell us a little bit about who we plan to have on.
So one of my good friends that I've known for about 5 years, Corey, has built multi-million-dollar businesses. I think 3 or 4 of them. So very successful business owner. But his ability to develop relationships and establish trust is one of the best I've ever been a part of, or has impacted me.
Yeah.
Huge. Besides a celebrity, his ability to establish trust is crazy, which I think can be very valuable to a Twitch streamer in terms of the networking, collaborating, like you said. So he's going to jump on. He's going to give us some really good business tips, but also some really good how to establish trust tips.
I love it.
So
yeah, I'm super excited. Nate, thank you so much for hopping on here, man. As always, had a blast talking with you. Episode 2. Certainly looking forward to doing some more with you soon.
Appreciate it, Kimbro.
All
Just
right.
remember,
go ahead.
Plan better, create better.
That's right. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.